All right. Thank you, Enoch, for joining the meeting today. I really appreciate you spending some time to give more information about this GMAT thing. So I'll just ask you a little bit to tell me a little bit about yourself.
Okay, my name is Enoch. I joined the program sometime towards the end of 2019. Prepared for my GMAT and sat for the GMAT the first week of February. So before joining the program, until now, I have been working as a freelance data analyst, and beginning 2020, I did join a boot camp for artificial intelligence, machine learning, and data science, after which I got the opportunity to collaborate with the company I was doing the boot camp with to promote like the technology knowledge around Kenya and Africa. Yeah, so that's me.
Okay, that's great. So where did you go to school? What grade did you get in high school? What did you do in undergraduate? Can you tell us a little bit about that and where you went to school?
The whole of my primary school, I did school in was in Gishu. My high school, I went to Chebara Boys High School in Elgeyo Marakwet County. I scored an A- in 2011 and joined Moi University in 2012, where I studied a Bachelor of Science in Applied Statistics with Computing. Graduated with the second class upper division in statistics, and yeah, before going to the freelancing gigs I've been doing.
Okay, that's good. That's great.
Yeah.
Now, I'm aware that you passed your GMAT at first attempt. Congratulations on that. So what was your score?
I did score 640. That is out of 800.
640 out of 800. Okay, and actually, so far you are the best. That's the best score that we've had since we started the program. Since we started this program. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
All right. Now, on average, how many hours of study did you use to put in your studies for the GMAT exam?
I will be honest. I received the material, the study material, more than 2 months before the end of December. Actually, the beginning of November. But quite honestly, I didn't take the time to go through the material until the beginning of January. So I did have 1 month of preparation, a little over 1 month. And considering I was also held up during the day 8 hours, which I couldn't concentrate. So, but I did come up with a timetable sort of, and I had read somewhere that to pass GMAT, you needed to put in around 120 hours of study. So I did endeavor to study 250 hours, which I didn't manage. I think I managed around 150 and between 150 and 180 hours. But those were pretty much the hours I put into. I did like cut down the study time, because I realized that most of the concepts that are being tested in GMAT are things that, not most, actually all of them are some things you come across either in high school or in campus. Yes. So where the trick comes in is the reasoning bit and how the questions are being asked. So I focused more on thinking and reasoning through problems rather than the concepts. But I did write notes, the quantitative section, and went through the notes, I think 3 times. But though they were the concept that I already knew. So I prepared for the reasoning side of.
Okay. So the first 2 months of you receiving the hard copy materials, and when you start, and the time that you started doing, your revision. So you didn't do anything to do with GMAT at all. You are just doing other things. You are like, working, or you are not at all doing anything to do with GMAT.
Yes, quite honestly, even reviewing the written materials for the first time I did in January 2nd.
Okay, okay. Okay.
I didn't know how the questions were being tested and everything, but after starting out knowing already my exam date was set, was already set, then I would say I also do well under pressure, so I pressurize myself so much.
Okay, I see.
Yeah.
I see. So you say you put in like 150, 170 hours. Like, how are you able to juggle between work and studies? You know, sometimes you can decide, okay, I'm gonna put in some hours, but again, you still have work to do and all that. How are you able to do that? How are you able to juggle between work and studies?
Okay.
Are you that disciplined, or how did you do it?
I did learn a little bit of discipline first, beginning when the year began, because I was, apart from the freelancing gigs I was doing, I had to attend 8 hours every day of boot camp study time. That was between 11 a.m. and 8 p.m. Those were the times I couldn't do anything, not even the jobs I was supposed to be doing and everything. But after the boot camp, after 8 p.m. preparation of supper and everything until 9, and then I took time to study now between 9 and 10. Sometimes I would sleep literally at 2, then wake up at 7, 8. Then between 7 and 11 and 11 a.m. I was also preparing. So it was preparing for GMAT between around 8 a.m. and 11 a.m. and then again between around 9:30, 10 to around 12, sometimes to 2.
So
but on
that
Saturdays,
means, go ahead.
on Saturdays, I usually did study for at least 10 hours on Saturdays and at least 8 hours on Sundays.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's good. Awesome. So it just means that, so it took you from the time you joined the program to the time you passed the GMAT exam, it took you about, so you joined in November, took about 4 months, I'd say. 4 months?
Yeah, 3 months really.
3 months, okay.
Yeah, cool. Just a little over 3 months.
So quite a number of our students have failed at first attempt. Okay, very few, you and a few others included, have been able to pass at first attempt. So do you think your game plan for success in this GMAT exam was your discipline? Is that really the differentiator?
First of all, the mistake I did, I feel, and I still feel I could have scored a little higher, but because I did not really go through the free exams that are being offered by GMAT. I did one, but that was two days towards the exam. I didn't.
Okay.
But above and beyond that, I made sure that I went through 100% of the materials and 100%, like all the questions, especially on the quant section. And for the questions that I got wrong during my practice, I indicated the reason. So I had this sort of a game plan of writing each individual question and then doing on my own, then marking it for myself. And the questions I got wrong, I didn't leave them that way or went back to them to revise just that way. I did want to know why I failed or why I got the questions wrong individually, and then writing on the side a comment about why I failed. And most of the comments, around 95%, I indicated was carelessness and not me not knowing the concepts.
Okay.
And then it was at that point that I did realize that people fail because not because they don't know the concepts, but because they either rush, they make assumptions, which GMAT hates, and they like just general carelessness.
Yes.
You miss the traps. What most of these examiners call traps. So most people miss the trap.
Wow. Wow, that's a great insight right there. Okay, now of all the materials that we have for studying GMAT, you know, that's the online resources and then the hard copy books. Which one, in your own opinion, do you think made a big difference for you?
I wouldn't really pick any, but I will put it this way.
Mm-hmm.
I did go through the written materials
Mm-hmm.
to gain confidence, to understand that, to be confident that there is a comment in one of the books or both of them that you are not going to get a question outside of these concepts. So after reading the books, like after reading through the book all through, I knew there was not going to be any question that was not in the book, the
Yes.
concept that being tested that was not in the book. So it gave me the confidence. So the written materials gave me the confidence that I wasn't going to find anything foreign. But
Yes.
then again, to boost my reasoning through of problems, I did watch a lot of YouTube videos.
The online videos, the YouTube ones.
Yes, the online videos, the YouTube videos a lot. I watch them a lot.
Oh, okay, cool. So the hard book, you actually went through each and every page.
Yes, I did. Not really for the verbal section,
Mm-hmm.
I'll be honest, but I went through majority of it for the verbal section. But for the quant section, I went through 100% of it, page by page.
Wow.
I think twice.
Wow, that's awesome. That's great. Okay, so between the 4 sections of GMAT, we have the quantitative, we have the integrated reasoning, verbal, analytical writing, assessment. Which one was the most challenging to you and why?
I found the critical reasoning, the integrated reasoning challenging because, and the analytical writing. And the reason was I did not prepare for them really, because I knew the greater bit of the marks, like 100% of the points, the score is determined by the quantitative and the verbal section.
Yes.
But so I focused more on them and did not really prepare for integrated reasoning and analytical writing until the exam date, which I regret. I wouldn't really encourage anyone to do that. So,
okay.
So it became a mess for me. I was even bored at the exam room because I wasn't feeling I was getting a good score from the onset.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, now I'll ask you like okay, you passed your first attempt, this GMAT exam, but do you think that was the best score that you could have achieved? What's the best score do you think you could have achieved? I know you said like you don't think that's the best you could have achieved, but what's the best that you think you could have achieved if you were really prepared well?
I have a feeling that had I even gone to the extent of preparing well for 2 months, just 2 months, I would have scored a 750, 720, 750. I know it is quite a high score, but I feel I would have scored that.
Wow, okay, that's cool. Now, if you actually sit for GMAT again, what would you do differently?
First, I would make sure that I go through all the materials, and then secondly, and most importantly, I would prepare for integrated reasoning and analytical writing. In as much as they don't count towards the score, I think I would take more time preparing for them.
Okay, yeah, because also you see these schools, when we do the applications, they don't just look at your score only, they look at also those other things, you know, the analytical writing.
That's the other thing I realized. So while it doesn't really contribute towards the overall score, they consider, the schools consider. So
correct. Yes, the schools, they look at how you did on that part. Yeah.
Maybe another thing, probably, if I were to sit for GMAT again, I would make sure to take the early stages of preparation to do the first exam, the first trial exam, and to make sure that I do the next exam towards the set time. So I would make sure I go through all the
materials. So normally when we register you for the GMAT, you get 2 free exams, right?
Yes.
And that's the one that you said you only did one. You didn't do
Yeah,
the
I
other one.
did one 2 days to the exam, which I shouldn't have really. I should have taken both of them, one earlier on and the second one towards the exam.
So what was your score for that? Is it like, does it look like exactly like the exam? And what was your score?
Yes, it is actually. It looks like the real deal. In fact, I did have a feeling that there was one question that I came across that was in the preparation materials. I'm not so sure, but I have that feeling. I scored 590 in the preparation exam.
Okay.
So after scoring the 590, I knew I was gonna get a high score relatively.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Cool. Now, the day before the exam, what did you do to make sure that you are fully ready for the exam?
Given the short time I took to prepare, towards the exam, like one day to the previous day, I just made sure to peruse 100% of the material, like the notes I had written, and to refer to YouTube videos a little bit of what I had seen. But I was just making sure to go through all the concepts so that I would go to the exam room with the confidence I needed. So I was just trying to boost my confidence after just going through the whole material, just skimming through.
Okay. So does it mean like that day before the exam, like you even slept late trying to make sure that you've covered everything?
Oh yes, I did sleep late, which I shouldn't have anyway, but I did sleep late because I was from it was on a Tuesday, and the exam I think was on a Thursday, and it was one of the same days. Like during the week, I'd still be having the commitments, the 8-hour commitment. So I just had to squeeze some time, and that meant I slept late. Probably I think I slept around 3 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah, and I must also say that you never even went for the training that we normally advise the students to go for. So you just did this on your own, and you never went for that. And I was actually very worried you might get a bad score because I had seen this before. Remember me?
You are disappointed I didn't do that.
Yeah, remember my message to you? I was like, okay, well.
I saw it, and then I knew Bob's gonna be disappointed. But you see, the other thing, when I was seeing the discussions in the group, I had the impression that people have really prepared super well. Like I had the impression that I'm the worst prepared person.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Okay. Because I've seen this, like, those students, because like I told you, like we have a lot of students who fail at first attempt. So,
yeah.
And even we started that, extra training, just to see if we can be able to help them improve their scores. And the moment you said you're not going to do it, I was very, very worried. Okay. Now, how about the day of the exam? Did you do anything different on that exact day, like before you got to the exam center? Anything special that you had to do just before that exam?
I didn't take time to go through the materials or anything. So since I slept late, I just made sure to wake up 2 hours before the exam and leave. So I did take 30 minutes to prepare, leave for the exam room around 1.5 hours before. So I was at the exam center for around an hour, 45 minutes, between 45 minutes and an hour before the exam started.
So
And,
what time was your exam?
My exam was scheduled for 9 a.m.
Oh, okay.
So I
you
was
got there like what time?
Yeah, between 8 and 8:15, around 8:15.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
All right, that's good. Especially when you're in Nairobi, you never know with the traffic and all that.
Yeah, I was worried with the traffic and everything, and the check-in from the gate and everything. Sometimes it takes time, so I didn't want to be disappointed.
So did you know exactly, I mean, had you like gone to the exam center to see where it is before, or it was that morning you went there, you didn't know exactly where it was, just followed the directions?
No, I had been at the exam center was at a building that I had been to some time, and I knew that was the exam center. So it wasn't like I was trying to figure out where it was. I knew. So
you had been there before to see it, or I didn't hear
I
you.
know I had been there for different commitments some time back.
Ah, okay, I see.
Yeah.
So you knew exactly where it was. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So which exam center did you sit your exam at, and what should a student expect?
The exam center I went to was what was the name again?
UNISERV?
It is one. Yeah, UNISERV at Fortis Tower in Westlands, Nairobi. So that is where I sat my exam. Yeah, and they have a very conducive environment, very cool and very calm, though it was cold. Yeah, but it is a nice place, really. So they are very professional. They take you through every process bit by bit, so nothing gets you really by surprise. They prepare you.
So what should you carry to the exam room? Do you get to know like what you should bring? Do they tell you once you've been scheduled for the exam? Do they tell you like what you should bring and all that, and what you should not?
Yeah, GMAT really gives you indications of what you should take to the exam center. Though some a little bit may differ between some may differ according to the exam center, but where I sat my exams, they were not allowing anything apart from your sleep. But before even the room itself, your time, they don't allow a pen.
Sorry, I think your internet is not very good. Can you hear me, Enoch?
Oh yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, your internet was a little bit choppy earlier. So anyway, I think I got what you said. You said that the GMAT.
So I was saying they
Go ahead.
Okay, so can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. Yes.
Okay. So the writing material by any. So basically, anything you go with, you have to leave at a locker, and they give you a key. Okay. So you lock your things inside the locker, and then you take your key. So they'll provide you with something to write on and something for writing.
You don't have any calculators, do you?
No, they don't allow calculators.
Okay. All right. So finally, this is the last question. So what advice would you give to those joining the program and hoping to pass this GMAT exam at first attempt like you? What kind of advice would you give them? I think you can.
Really, I repeat, there's no
Enoch.
new.
Okay, sorry about that. The connection was not that good. Sorry. But just let me repeat the same question that I asked you earlier. So what kind of advice would you give to those joining the program and hoping to pass this GMAT exam at first attempt, just like you?
The short answer is you need to put in the hours. You need to put in the hours of study time. The longer bit would be, first, I think it is necessary to go through all the pages of the materials first, like a month, 2 months before the exam. Make sure you've summarized your notes for the study materials, and then
Yeah.
go through the materials every so often. Don't just go 3 days without looking at the materials, because sometimes when you come back, you do realize that you've even forgotten if you stay for long without going through the materials. So
Yeah. True.
I think it common. Let the materials and everything. So keep preparing from day one.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
That sounds good. All right. Thank you so much. And actually, congratulations. I know you've been accepted to 3 schools so far. Although we have the, all these coronavirus issues and all that. So, but congratulations on that. So thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Bob.
All right.